Welcome to this latest video from Walton Robinson. The property market was given quite a shot in the arm by the stamp duty holiday, which was introduced by the Chancellor in his summer economic statement. So joining me to discuss how the Newcastle market is faring as a result of that and the opportunities for home buyers and buy-to-let investors is Richard Ponton, Walton Robinson's Investment Director. Hello, Richard.
Hiya.
Richard, start off with, well, how have sales and instructions been at Walton Robinson in comparison to last summer?
Well, I think it's been seen across the country, to be honest, that there's been a huge amount of activity over the summer months of July and August, which are usually quite a quiet period in the year. So we've actually seen a notable increase in the number of market appraisals, which has increased about twofold on what we saw last year. In terms of instructions, that hasn't always translated immediately, so there can often be a bit of a lag there. But in terms of the actual sales that are going through, again, it translates to pretty much doubling the amount of sales we have agreed there, which is very promising for the market, of course.
Well, why do you think this is? Why is this the case?
Well, I think it's a combination of factors, really. I mean, we've obviously all been experiencing the traumas of lockdown during the pandemic, and I think a lot of people have quite fancied a change of scene. They may even look to change how they live, with a big emphasis on a lot of inquiries that came through on outside space. I think with people spending a lot more time at home, their environment at home becomes more important, not only internally, but externally as well. So those sort of patio areas or gardens and so on have been really sort of top of the tick lists for a lot of people over the summer. So it's a combination of the whole unique situation of the pandemic, but also another couple of contributing factors, such as stamp duty holiday coming in as well. So it gives an opportunity for people to save some real cash. Obviously, stamp duty is an expense that you have to pay out of your pocket, so it's not something that just adds onto your mortgage loan. It is real cash that you need to find for that. So being given a bit of a helping hand by having that stamp duty raised up to £500,000 is a big help to a lot of people. Certainly in Newcastle, if you consider the market here, the sort of property you can buy up to £500,000 is a pretty substantial property. So it affects a huge part of the market here.
As I said in my introduction, obviously Walton Robinson works with both home buyers and home sellers and obviously buy-to-let investors as well. What's the split between those been and how is that different from last year?
It's been remarkable to look at, to be honest. We look back historically and generally speaking through the summer, you find there's actually quite a big tail off in terms of people looking to move home. So generally speaking, we expect our home buyers to account for about 20% of our transactions. Actually, this year, it was much closer to 50-50. So what it's meaning is that there's either an urgency, well, it's a combination. There's an urgency of people looking to move, to do with obviously the two scenarios of COVID and also the stamp duty holiday. And also, perhaps there's a lot more people around still. August is usually very quiet for buyers. But this year, there's not a lot of people going very far because of restrictions on travel and so on. So people are at home and they are still looking. So inevitably, there's going to be an increase in transaction volume.
So let's look a bit more into the detail, obviously, because one of the things that obviously the impact that the pandemic has had has been, social distancing and not people in people's homes and obviously the hygiene and all that sort of stuff. So how has Walton Robinson managed the process during the pandemic in terms of, organising valuations, giving property buyers the peace of mind in terms of viewings and that sort of stuff? How are you dealing with that?
It's been a real challenge, to be honest, for the senior management team. Our operations director has had a challenge on his hands, certainly. Trying to make sure we are completely compliant, but also first and foremost that people working and moving about in the industry are actually comfortable to a point where they actually want to engage. It's one thing making sure you're compliant and ticking the boxes, but at the end of the day, people still don't feel comfortable. They're not going to be out looking. We're not going to be able to provide a service. So generally speaking, we've developed a COVID protocol, which means we can offer sellers very much a virtual market appraisal, whereby they can take an internal video of their property and send it through to us. They can actually either do it live and walk us through and talk like we would do normally on a valuation in person, but they can actually do it by video, send it across to us, and we can either comment later, or as I say, we can actually speak to them while they're doing the tour. And this enables us to have a good look around the property still, not just relying on still images, but actually having a good look around and able to place a fairly accurate valuation on the property. And again, it's really, as long as you've got that visual connection with the property and the client, and you can obviously answer any questions as you go as well, you're pretty much providing 95% of the service, apart from the handshake. So we pretty much get it nailed on for the sellers there, that they get the full service still.
That's great. Richard, thank you very much for your time. Join us again for another video from Walton Robinson, where we'll discuss another element of the home property market. Thank you.